On high stakes poker, we had debatably the greatest fold of all time in a hand between Andrew Robl and Justin Gavry. Exactly what happened here in this nuts versus second nuts hand, we're going to break it down and talk about the sickest coolers we've ever seen in the history of poker.
Straddle from Was, 5K to go from Gavry tilt in, Robl in. 3 ways. A threesome, as Brent often likes to say.
I don't like that. We are playing 500 1K with a 1K ante and a 2K straddle, and Justin Gavry decides to open it up with King 9 of hearts to $5,000. Senior tilt looks down the small blind with Queen Jack off. This is a hand that classic poker hand spot. You kind of don't mind anything. Folding, calling, and 3-betting all totally reasonable, and he does decide to make the call. In the big blind here, Robl looks down at Queen 7 of hearts, a hand that typically speaking would just like to call and try and realize his equity. He makes the call, and we take a flop.
Heart's working for Robl and Gavry. Obviously, Robl does not want to see that heart gut shot going for tilt. 18 times in the middle.
You're not kidding about that heart. What a cooler this could be. Senior's in.
35.
Robl makes it 35,000.
And it's kind of ironic, but he almost doesn't want to see a heart if Gavry calls. Maybe Robl finds a way to just blast off and win. For Kiki, we gotta think he's just gone.
Heads up.
Big turn coming. A lot of stuff can happen. Robl telling a story. Gavry has him in a bad way.
The flop comes ace 10 deuce 2 hearts. Everyone flops a pretty strong draw here, with Gavry with the nut flush draw, Robl with the second nut flush draw, and Sam Kiki with a gutter to the nuts. Unfortunately for Sam, even if he hits the straight here, it's going to be difficult for him to win back the $3 million he's lost playing on high stakes streams. While we're talking about Sam Kiki, he recently had a set up against Wasserson's nut flush, and in a cooler situation on the river made the call, but handled himself with dignity and grace.
And he does pay it off. We'll see the bad news. Nuts all the way.
Oh boy,
There it is.
Senior, livid.
Living up to his name.
Apparently this was a big enough deal for sports personality Nick Wright to weigh in. Someone has to explain to me the stream game fascination with Senior Tilt. A guy who plays the least hands, has precisely 0 interesting stories, constantly talks about Tilt Mafia, which appears to be 25 humans and a couple hundred bots, constantly whining and moaning whenever he loses a hand. I don't get it, but maybe that's just me. He actually said a lot more, but I gotta keep this video moving. Back to our hand. Action checks to Justin Gavry, who decides to bet $8,000. Seems totally fine with the nut flush draw. And now Senior Tilt has a kind of tough spot here with gutter. I don't hate call or fold. They both seem reasonable. But I think 3-way, you probably just let this one go. He does make the call, and now the action on Andrew Robl here with the second nut flush draw. Certainly a spot where both options, either call and raise, are on the table. And Robl springs to life with the aggressive action, making it $35,000 to go. Action back to Gavry here. Seems like a crystal clear call with the nut flush draw, which he makes. And now certainly with the gutter, you want to get out of the way, and Sam makes the right laydown, and we take ourselves a turn.
9 now for Gavry to go along with the better flush draw. Does Robl want to keep on bluffing?
Like 300, 250.
96,000 in the middle. Both players very deep.
I don't know, Brent.
Robl checks.
I think Gavry can tend to do the same.
Yeah.
Like
He does check as well.
The turn comes the 9 of spades, so now Gavry has improved to third pair, although obviously he's still crushed by the value bets that Robl can have, like ace 10 and pocket 2s. So now the question is, does Robl want to barrel or check the turn? And I really like betting this hand. I feel like if our hand was a stronger hand, I wouldn't mind going for a check call. Like, for example, if we have King Jack of hearts, I don't want to bet and get jammed on, and I don't mind my showdown value. And if my hand was a worse flush draw, I certainly would like to barrel and try and get folds from just an ace. So with this hand, it is kind of in that middle ground, but I do prefer to bet the turn. Robl has other ideas, and he slows it down with a turn check, maybe going for check raise, maybe going for check fold. We don't end up getting to know because Gavry decides to check back with showdown value. Certainly a good play from Gavry, and we take a river.
Oh dear.
Oh my.
Gavry doubling up, guys.
That's pretty cool. There wasn't
Vicious
much
for
thought.
Robl.
There it is, the 6 of hearts. The ultimate poker cooler. Nuts versus second nuts. We've seen this countless times throughout poker history, and most of the time, second nuts get stacked. Maybe the most famous nuts for second nuts hand is this hand between Andy Stacks and Mariano, where Mariano hits a straight flush up against the nut flush, although there are 4 diamonds out there, so certainly the nut flush would have to be worried when it faces a jam. Unfortunately for Andy, he couldn't get away from this $600,000 pot.
And Andy just bets $120,000. Mariano moves all in. Andy calls and shows him the ace.
Oh my God. That's sick.
But nuts versus second nuts doesn't have to just be post-flop. It can be pre-flop too. With this one once again including Mariano, where aces runs into kings and kings.
Pocket kings for double M. Young with kings as well. And Mariano's got aces. Are you kidding me? What? Look at these hands. So you've got a 3-bet from Young, a 4-bet from Mariano, a call from double M. Now it's back over to Young on the button with 2 black kings. These guys are deep. Young with the 5-bet. Action on Mariano. Can double M get away from it now? You ask yourself the question, can you ever fold kings pre-flop? In the face of this, you might be able to.
Once again, you know he has 50 behind.
You're covering me.
Just want to make sure.
Mariano just calls.
Thank
What
you.
is happening? What the fuck?
Double M just moved all in. I think you can find the fold here. One of your opponents has aces every time.
I call.
Wow, Young.
We're dead. Oh my God. What the fuck?
Unfortunately for Double M and Yang, neither one of them can get away from their pocket kings, and this $800,000 pot gets shipped once again to Mariano. No nuts for second nuts compilation would be complete without taking a peek at one of my favorite hands I've ever played.
Oh
goodness.
Set over set. This is pretty hard to do.
So now, after the check by Schwartz with the jack-high flush draw, Vanessa with her set of aces bets 700. Bowman, now it's flopped second set, and she can't go anywhere.
OMG.
Quad alert! Quad alert!
Bye-bye, Vanessa.
No!
No! Can it be?
There's still one card to come. Come on.
Likely. I know that I'm going to go broke in this spot.
Oh, my goodness.
That is 7. You know, when you have
Talk myself
top
out of
full
that.
and Hold'em,
Aces full of 7s and second best, and 1 out. The last ace in the deck for Vanessa Selps.
1 hour into the main event, Vanessa Selps faces a massive cooler.
50,000 behind. Yeah. Wow. Oh, that's exactly the reaction we expected.
Are you serious right now? If you'd shove with ace-7 of hearts, then I'd have to... All right, you could have ace-7 of hearts, I guess, so I got a call. You have quads?
Yeah.
I almost folded. Yeah.
Whoa.
I wanted to fold. I wanted to fold, though, I swear to God.
I'm just kidding, guys. I think I could have gotten away on the river. In all of these examples with the second nuts, the player ends up getting stacked. But I can think of one example where that didn't happen.
Both Phil Helmuth and Doug Polk have flopped straights. The nuts and the second nuts, they check. And because Andrus isn't in the hand, James board bets with his deuces. He bet 2,000. Doug Polk raises to 7,000.
All in.
Here's all in.
And Phil Helmuth has gone all in.
You should fold.
I think he's gone all in here because he's putting Doug on a draw. And he just does not want to give him the opportunity to draw at all.
But let's just see how much this is first.
It's about 125.
This is insane. Just such a monster raise. So I'm considering making a very big laydown here. Very, very big laydown.
I mean, I could easily have, you know.
What could you easily have?
I don't know.
You just bet a lot into very, very little.
I could have a set. Right?
Could you have a set? I don't think you'd have a set here. Come on, Phil, you're better than
I
that.
could have the blockers, 2 pens.
Oh, now you're busting out blockers? God, if I fold this and I'm wrong, oh my Lord.
Phil's conversation is convincing Doug to fold.
I mean, I think I'm either dead, and I think that I'm dead a lot given this, or like you just have like a ton of equity against me. So like, I think I can just, God, wow, this is gonna look so dumb if this is completely absurd. He has to get through him, and then he has to get through me. And then, no, this is just a fold.
Wow,
It's
wow.
not a fold. Are you
hell?
crazy
Yes,
right now?
Unbelievable.
Can I see your 8?
Ah,
Hey, come on, let me see.
I'm not showing my hand.
Doug Polk is one of the few people on the planet that would have folded there.
This hand was crazy. I check raised the second nuts on Jack 9-8, and Phil Helmuth just moved all in with the nuts straight, and somehow Pudgy Doug found a way to get away from the second nuts. This fold is probably my favorite hand I've ever played, which shows the sad state of affairs because I didn't even win the pot. However, this has been the gold standard for folds when we talk about getting away from cooler situations. But now let's bring it back to this spot now. Nut flush versus second nut flush. What exactly is going to go down?
I would imagine Robl's going to bet. Yeah.
Well, he's about to get some bad news, and I promise you, he's going to be sick. But 300 some odd dimes going Gavri's way. The beast has really been heating up these last few nights, Brent.
Oh, yeah, all in. He says, sniff this, Robl.
Robl thinks it over and decides to overbet the pot 125,000 into just under 100K. When Robl bets this size, he's saying he has a flush, and he does have a very strong flush here. And then maybe he could look for some bluffs occasionally with a hand like King Jack with a heart and take the same sort of line. At this point, Justin Gavri decides to risk none of it and goes all in on the river with the stone cold goods. And you too have a chance to go all in with the goods as the Crown Series kicks off. And remember, there are 10 free chips to sign up with code Doug. But back to our hand, you would imagine this is a snap call. You have to call here. You have the second nuts. But Andrew Robl is one of the best poker players in the world. And he's going to give this one a long think. What exactly might Robl be thinking? Well, first off, it took Justin just 15 seconds to jam the river, and so when players tend to act quickly, this is a good tip for you at home. Fast actions on the river are usually more likely to be better hands because sometimes bluffs are hard to think of or hard to find, and sometimes they need a bit more time to do so. So it's certainly worth it when you have a good hand on the river to take a little extra time before jamming. You're not wasting anyone's time if you take 30 seconds here, and it makes it a little more likely you could be trying to find creative bluffs. But regardless, when Gavri does jam the river, it's very clear he's saying that he has a flush. Also, Gavri's image on these shows tends to be on the tighter side. He mainly gets coolered in big pots and has shown down very strong hands in most of his big hands. When Robl overbets the river, he's saying he has a flush. So Gavri's not going to be jamming with mid or low flushes. He either has a strong flush, and obviously he can't have the queen high flush because Robl has that himself. So he might have the either king high, possibly jack high flush, or he's bluffing. So with this in mind, you have to be very careful with letting go of the second nut flush. It's not impossible that Gavri has a hand like Jack 9 of hearts here and would want to jam the river because he actually beats a lot of the other flushes Robl can have. That said, if you think your opponent might not jam that, and you think your opponent's not capable of this small raise all-in bluff on the river, well, you gotta do the thing no poker player ever wants to do, and fold the second nuts.
He's so locked in.
How can he fold this?
He cannot fold, but if he does, it'll be the best fold in televised cash game history.
Wow.
But I don't think he can.
I don't want to be embarrassed like Loss. Is it just better to call moose?
I cannot believe what we're witnessing.
No, I'm actually a little bit mesmerized.
He's really considering fold.
You got ace king with the king of hearts.
Oh my god. No, no way.
Like a jack high flush. I'd look really dumb.
I can tell you guys this. When Robl gets dialed in to kind of prove a point, he sort of...
Oh my God!
No,
Oh
that's
my
the
God.
best fold I've ever seen in my life. That's the best fold of all time. I don't care. I don't give a fuck what anybody has to say.
Oh my
That's
God.
the greatest fold of all time in a cash game. That's unprecedented. Just please, guys, listen. Please. What the fuck?
Just an incredible fold from Robl, and this isn't my obviously biased opinion, but I think this is probably the best fold ever when you consider the size of the raise and the fact it's the second nuts with a flush on the river. In my hand versus Phil Helmuth, there are way more combinations of straight, so not to try and not give myself credit, but in my opinion, this is the best fold we've ever seen on televised poker.